Hi guys, welcome back to TOEFL with Juva. In this lesson, I will give you 8 of my top tips to get a high score on the TOEFL independent writing task. I scored 30 out of 30 in TOEFL writing, so using these tips can really help you improve your score. Let's get started! By the way, if you want to get your dream TOEFL score, check out my TOEFL materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your score. To access the TOEFL materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. The TOEFL independent writing task gives you a short question about your personal opinion, and you have 30 minutes to organize and write your response. That's plenty of time to complete the task if you stay focused on the question. Here's my first tip for using your time well. First, identify the style of the question. There are 4 main types of independent writing question: agree, disagree, preference, multiple choice, and imaginary situation. Make sure you know what kind of response is needed before you start taking notes and organizing your response. Pick your viewpoint. You have to explain your viewpoint in the TOEFL independent task. Therefore, it's essential that you pick one side of the argument or one solution to the problem and argue for that side the entire response. Some questions are very ambiguous and you may not have a strong opinion. My advice is not to waste time trying to decide the perfect stance to take. It's really important to know that there is no right or wrong answer. You're scored on how well you structure your argument and provide reasons to support the viewpoint you choose. I found I can lose a lot of time thinking about alternatives. So now I try to choose quickly and save that time to come up with some good supporting reasons. While talking about reasons, let me move on to the next point. Take a few notes. Notes are really helpful to keep my ideas organized, but I don't like to spend too much time writing down every detail. Let me tell you what I do write down. It might help to have a question, so I will use this one. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Children today do not help others as much as children did in the past. Use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. I see it's an agree-disagree style, so I decide to disagree. I think children do help each other. I write my stance to keep focused. Yes, kids help. Now, I always try to include 2 reasons and supporting ideas for those reasons. I brainstorm and think maybe kids help each other because they are encouraged to volunteer by their schools. They participate in class projects and decide it feels good, so they help again in the future. I might write that down like this. You can see I don't add much detail at all. I don't even write whole words. This is enough to remember the first point for the time it takes to write the paragraph. I know they volunteer at school, like it, and do it again in the future. And no, I probably will have no idea what this note refers to in a week. That doesn't matter. My notes are only for my own use during the test. My second reason will look the same. Just a few words to remember the point. Then I'm ready to start writing. That leads to one of my most important points. Use a template. I've said this before, but this is really helpful to boost your score. Use a template to organize your response. Some students ask if a template is a memorized response because the TOEFL specifically says not to use memorized responses? The answer is no. You do not just copy down the entire answer from your head. There are so many questions, you never know what will appear on your actual test. Instead, a template is an outline with sentence starters that have a range of vocabulary. It includes linking words to show how the ideas relate to each other. A template also reminds you to use paragraphs for each point and to keep each point concise. I've made templates for both TOEFL writing tasks. You can find them in this course. By the way, if you want to get your dream TOEFL score, check out my TOEFL materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your score. To access the TOEFL materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. On to the next point. Don't add extra solutions. If you look at the TOEFL prompts, they ask if you agree or disagree. They may ask which one of 2 or 3 options is best. In any case, you need to select one of the choices that is given. It may be tempting to add a completely different solution to a problem. However, that's not the question. If the TOEFL examiner cannot figure out which side of the argument you're taking because you edge your opinion too much, you will get a lower score. Give a specific example. Most of the prompts say something like use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. Therefore, I try to give at least one example from my personal experience. One word of warning about this though. Keep the example short. Some people write really long stories with way too much background information, and the reader has no idea what your point is. Keep your idea only a sentence or 2 long. If you don't have any personal experience on the subject, that's okay. You can write about something you have heard of, such as in a television show. For example, I might write, I heard that, or I read a study in which. These phrases also show that the following information may not be exact, but is accurate to the best of your knowledge. The TOEFL examiner will not lower your score for a slight mistake in reporting information. You are scored on how well you present the information, even if the facts are imprecise. With that in mind, I will move on to the next point. Vary your vocabulary and grammar. The template helps ensure that you use great linking words to introduce your ideas. However, it's really easy to get into a pattern where you repeat the same style of sentence. Try using complex sentences and paraphrasing keywords to keep your writing engaging. Because the TOEFL question often refers to possibilities, it's a great opportunity to show off your ability in using conditional words like would, could, might, and should. These words show that you're talking about something which could happen, but which is not happening now. For example, I can write, students who volunteer in school projects decide to participate in additional projects. That's pretty certain, isn't it? Now, check out the sentence with the conditional might in it. Students who volunteer in school projects might decide to participate in additional projects. These words are a great way to make your language more precise and boost your score like this. Finally, here's my last point. Leave time to proofread. Since you are judged on the quality of the writing rather than the viewpoint you take in the TOEFL independent writing task, make sure your response is free of grammatical and spelling errors. Be sure to leave time to proofread what you have written. For example, check for places where you can paraphrase. Ask yourself if there are any sentences you could combine or change for a better flow. Do all the sentences have the correct punctuation? I suggest taking the computer-based test because it's easier to make corrections. You can fix errors of all sizes and change the words easily. These tips can really boost your score. That's it! That's 8 amazing tips that help you get a high score on the TOEFL independent writing task. By the way, if you want to get your dream TOEFL score, check out my TOEFL materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your score. To access the TOEFL materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video.